No. Okay.
We do have the screen sharing rights, right? We can share the screen.
All right. We are live. SIBM Pune is live here with Cracku. We're here to tell you guys about the 50-day strategy for SNAP exam. And we're also here to answer all of your doubts, all of your questions that you guys have about SNAP and SIBM Pune. So we'll get into it. We'll still wait for a little more while so that more people can join in. Just wait for 5 minutes so that more people join in. And then we'll begin with our presentation.
Meanwhile, we can also cover about the ADAS event that we are having. Sarthak, would you like to take that? And we will do that at the end as well.
Sure. So basically the aspirant relations team, which is one of the student councils at SIBM, is coming up with an event known as A Day at SIBM, where you guys can come and visit the campus of SIBM Pune for a day, where we'll take you through multiple activities that an MBA student goes through in their usual days, right? So it is going to be a great experience. It's going to be a new experience for you all. We'll get to learn a lot of new things, and it will be a really exciting event. So you can find more details about it on all of our social media handles. So you can check that out as well. We'll also talk about more details. We'll talk about the event in detail at the end of this presentation.
I can see a query from Sumit Sharma saying, how can I score 45 plus in SNAP? Yeah, we are about to explain all the strategies which are required to get 45 plus in SNAP. Just tune in and stay in the channel, stay in the section.
So how we are going to go about the session is we'll first tell you the strategies. We'll tell you what worked for us and what did not work for us. And then we can take the questions at the end. I hope that would be fine.
All right, so we're still waiting for a few more people to join in. We'll begin the presentation in the next 3 minutes. I do see a lot of questions coming up in the chat. We will answer all your doubts, guys. We'll address all your questions, all your queries. We'll just go through the presentation. We'll just quickly go through a couple of slides, and then we'll come to the strategy for SNAP, and then we'll come to the question answer round. So just another 2 minutes.
A Day at SIBM, it's a flagship event of SIBM. Here we are inviting aspirants to come over to our college, SIBM, and spend a day with the students of SIBM. We have many plans which is in store for all of you guys, and we will you'll get to know more about it.
So basically, just to dwell a little more deeper into ADAS, or as we call A Day at SIBM. So a B school student, right? You all must have heard about it, that the B school life is extremely hectic and there are a lot of things to do. We have assignments, we have case comps, we have councils. So a lot of different things coming upon us at the same time, right? And this is the event that gives you a first-hand experience about it, right? You will be required to participate in a lot of different competitions that we conduct while on campus, and you'll have to deal with multiple things. So you'll have a completely new learning experience, and it is something that no other B school does in our country, as far as I know. So it is something extremely unique to SIBM, and we love giving this opportunity to aspirants so that they can experience the B school life on a first-hand basis. All right, so I think we should start with the presentation. I'll just share my screen now. All right, so this is the Cracku session for Snap 22 aspirants. Just first, let me tell you a little about SIBM. As you already might be knowing a lot of different things about SIBM, it is one of the most coveted B schools in the country. What I want to talk about just really quickly is 4 different parameters upon which I usually went about categorizing a B school, right? So the first was how old the college is, which directly linked to the second, that is how strong the alumni network is, which again directly correlates to the last point, which is the placements, because again, how old the college is, how bigger the alumni network is, the better the placements at the college will usually be, right? And then the third point here is student-driven culture, right? And SIBM Pune has a lot to offer in all of these 4 pillars. So just to quickly take a look at the recent summer internship recruitment program that was concluded at SIBM Pune. We'll take a look at this snapshot. We see a lot of different companies here, a lot of different companies from a lot of different industries coming to SIBM to recruit for the summer internship program. We have the likes of Amazon, Flipkart, all the big names are here. The highest stipend that was offered this year was 4 lakh for 2 months. The average stipend was 2.91 lakhs and the median stipend was 3.1 lakh. And a total of 78 recruiters visited the campus. So overall, it was a great experience for the students as well. Then I'd like for my team to explain the 2 courses in MBA that SIBM Pune has to offer.
Okay, we have two types of courses. One is full-time flagship MBA course. This is the flagship course of SIBM Pune. It's the core MBA. Here we have 4 specializations: one marketing, HR, operations, and human resource and finance. So it is a 2-year course structure, and you have to choose the specialization, and it's a dynamic process, and you have to choose a specialization somewhere in the first year. And MBA in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. This is a course where budding entrepreneurs and innovators are given impetus to create new things and come up with new startups. So this is a course where we are taking in students who are solely interested in getting into entrepreneurship, uh, and we offer many facilities like labs for prototyping, industry partnerships, and also we give them startup incubators. So this is about our flagship and an IND course.
So now
And
we talk about the different specializations. Yes, Karthik, go ahead.
yeah, we have the first specialization. I would like to speak about marketing here. So here, marketing is the art of science of exploring, creating, communicating, and delivering values for target markets profitably. So, uh, marketing also encompasses research, product development, pricing, and distribution. So, marketing as a specialization interests me because it helps you to go on the field and sell products. And as you always know that the profit of any company is realized only when it is sold. So, marketing is something which was very interesting to me. So, I took up marketing, and we have an HR over here, two HRs. So anyone can take up and speak about HR.
Okay, let me take the HR part. So, human resources at SIBM Pune is one of the well known courses. It's one of the original courses at SIBM Pune. And I took up human resources because I loved interacting with people. I loved, talking to people, knowing about them. And when you take care of your employees, they give you better productivity. They give you efficient productivity. So that's why I chose HR. So human resources is also a very good specialization which you can consider. After that, we have operations. Durgesh, could you please go ahead with operations?
Yeah, sure. So operations is again one of the major brands that we have, and we have seen definitely great placements in all these years that we have. And if you are someone with that kind of mindsets who kind of likes to put things in a like streamline things, then you should be the one who going for this specialization. And definitely after that we have finance, and again the if you are kind of good with numbers, and again it's all up to you at the end of the day, because it all depends on what kind of interest you have and what you really want to pursue. And now moving to the next slide, we have the important dates. So all of you must be knowing that the snap registrations are already have started, and the deadline for that would be 24th of November. And all the important dates are mentioned. And one very important thing that I would like all of you to keep in mind, that this time the snap would be conducted 3 times like all of the years, but you can also attempt it 3 times. So you will have three opportunities, kind of, even if you are not able to score at par, at your maximum potential in one of the attempts, you will have different attempts. So again, I will reiterate the dates for you. The admit card will be live for the first slot on 5th of December, and the snap one's first slot will be on 10th, second would be on 18th, and third would be on 23rd of December, and the snap results would be out on 10th of January. So you see, everything is pretty compact, and we are kind of going in a streamlined manner. So Sarthak, you can take over now.
All right, so should we move to the next slide? I do see a lot of more questions coming up in the chat. We'll get there. We'll get to the questions part. So now we need to talk about the strategy, right? That's what we're here for, the 50-day strategy that you guys need to take for Snap 2022. Obviously, this comes from our own experience, our own journeys.
Sorry to interrupt, Sarthak, but before we jump into that, let's also give our profile and what background we are coming from, so that people can relate and ask relevant questions.
Sure. So I'll go first. I have a BSc in Computer Science from University of Delhi. I am a fresher. I do not have any work ex. I am 21 years of age, and that has been my journey before I appeared for Snap and came here to SIBM Pune. Durgesh?
Yeah, I will go next. So I'm a BTech civil engineer, and I am also a fresher, and I have a 2 years of gap. That would be a pretty important thing for you, many of you guys, in order to motivate you. And also, currently I am pursuing MBA in marketing. So Karthik, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Karthik Kulkarni, and I'm also a mechanical engineer, and have done my mechanical engineering in BMS College of Engineering from Bangalore, and I have 3 years of work ex in TCS, and if you have any questions regarding preparing for Snap along with the job, I'm there for you. I'll answer those questions. Now, Moumi.
Hi, my name is Moumi. I've done my BBA from NMIMS Bangalore, and I'm a fresher. I have a gap of 2 years. So if you have any questions regarding gaps, or if you want to know, people with gaps can get into an MBA or not, so I'm here. So that's it from my side. I'm pursuing my MBA in HR. So any HR related questions are also welcome.
All right. So now that you guys have a clear idea about what our profiles are, we'll just quickly take you guys through the strategy. Now, obviously, each one of us followed a different strategy at the point of time that we prepared for Snap and we appeared for Snap, right? But these are the few points that we all agree upon unanimously, because we feel that these are some of the few very basic points that every strategy should contain, right? Obviously, you can build upon this, build upon these points and make it more unique to yourself. But these are the few basic areas that we would like everyone to focus on. The first point that we mentioned here is to divide time among sections judiciously, right? It becomes extremely important in Snap, because if you take a look at other entrance exams, right? So for example, if you take a look at CAT, the time that you're given for each section is fixed by the authority itself, right? By the IMs. The time that you can give to each section is fixed, right? That is not the case in Snap. You can switch between sections, right? And that's why it becomes extremely important to divide your time judiciously, right? So in a section like verbal ability, which contains 10 questions, right? You wouldn't want to give it more time so that you're left with less time with maybe LR or QA, right? So that is where it becomes extremely important to divide your time, right? The second part is bank on your strengths first, right? Now, at first, it might sound obvious, but sometimes it happens that we take a look at the questions that are there in the paper, right? And we feel that maybe we should try a question that is not from the area of our strength, right? And that will lead you nowhere, because again, it is extremely important that you focus on your strengths, because you have prepared for it, you have worked on it for a very, very long time, and you will be able to solve it, right? So for example, if you're taking a look at the logical reasoning section, right, and you're extremely well prepared when it comes to questions related to series, right? So that is what you want to go for at the very first point of time, right? So that is what you want to target first. You get in that marks into your bucket, right? And then you work towards the other questions, right? First, you have those marks inside your bucket. You know you're going to get that marks. You achieve those marks, and then you're going to go for the other questions. Then the third point is fastest fingers first. Speed is the key. So again, Snap is an exam that is based upon speed, right? Speed is at the core of Snap. You have 60 minutes, you have to answer 60 questions, right? So 1 minute, you get 1 minute per question, and speed is what you should keep in mind at all times. So speed, right? But what also follows speed is accuracy, right? Because again, if you have 1 minute per question, you cannot afford to go wrong in any one of those, right? So accuracy comes with speed. Now, how to build these two, right? And the only way to do that is you practice more. You practice more questions, you practice more mocks. That is how you increase your speed as well as accuracy. Because if any of these two factors is not on point, then you'll face those issues while you're attempting the paper, right? If your speed is low but the accuracy is high, then you're not going to be achieving your target score, right? And on the other hand, if your speed is high and the accuracy is low, then the result will also be similar again, right? You'll not be achieving your target score. So both of these two aspects are extremely critical for the exam. Next comes finalize the sequence of attempting the sections, right? Now this becomes extremely important, because you should have a set strategy when you're going to appear for the exam, right? It's not like you change the strategy at the last point of time, right? You cannot be like, okay, today I feel like attempting VA first, so let me just start with VA, right? You need to have a set strategy in order. So if you've decided that, for example, VA is your strength, right? And you want to put all those marks in your bucket first, so you first attempt VA, right? And then you move on to the other two sections. So personally, what I did, I think I would share this, that personally what I did was I followed the same sectional attempting strategy. So basically, when we all prepare for CAT, the section that appear in front of us is fixed by the authorities again. So we have VA first, we have DLR second, and quants third, right? So for Snap as well, I kept this pattern because again, personally for me, VA was my strength. So I wanted to start with that. And then I covered the other two sections in a similar order because then the pattern would be similar across different exams for me. So that is what I personally did. If
I've been
I would
seeing a
request,
lot of questions on whether
I would
I've been seeing
request
a
any
lot
of
of
my
questions on
teammates.
whether RCs are there in Snap. From the patterns of last 2 3 years, we haven't seen any RCs, but Snap is a very dynamic exam, and you can expect RCs in the future. No one knows, but according to the past experiences we had 2 3 years, we didn't have any RCs.
All right. So I would request my teammates if they have anything to add on to these points that have been mentioned, or if anyone of you would like to share the strategy that you followed in terms of attempting the sections, or in terms of choosing a particular way to attempt to go through the exam.
Okay. So what I did was I was good in VA. So I used to complete whole of VA within 5 minutes. Even if there was an RC during the mocks, I used to make sure that not go beyond 7 minutes. And the rest, I used to divide 25-25 for DILR and quants. And there was a 5 minute buffer time as well. So during that, I used to go through review, or if I had left something which I wanted to come back to, I used to come back to that. So this is the strategy which I followed during the mocks, and it has helped me during my D day also. So make sure that whatever you're following through the mocks, make sure you follow it during the D day as well. And this worked for me personally. You guys can, try to manage your timings. 5 minutes. Up and down you can do whatever is your strength. Do it first, do your strengths first, and then you can go about the rest. So that's how I went about it. If anyone has anything to add to.
Mine was a little bit different. I kind of saved my best part. Like VRC, I knew that I could do in a very small time, and even if there's a certain amount of pressure that there is, even then I would be able to handle it. So what I used to do that I used to go ahead with LR and quant part, and at the end, what I did that I used to keep the VA part so that. And definitely the buffer thing that mommy mentioned is pretty important because you don't know what kind of questions are gonna come. And I can see in chat people are asking that how much marks is required to obtain 99 percentile. See people, the level of difficulty keeps on changing. Even last to last year it was something else, this year it is going to be something else, so you can't really kind of point out what the cutoff is going to be. So how many questions are you going to solve is always dependent upon you. Like uh, whatever is the difficulty of question, like be present in that moment, and at that point only kind of try to see how many questions you can solve and what kind. Just give your best because cutoff and all these things is not in your hand. So again, coming to the strategy part, Karthik, you would like to add something?
Yeah, the one strategy which I used while giving the exam was you cannot spend more than 1.5 minutes on any question. Uh, Whatever it is, even if it is your favorite topic, you can't spend more than 1.5 minutes. You see the question. If you are not able to do, if you are not able to complete the answer in 1.5 minutes, then move on because there are easier questions further ahead which you may not be knowing. And Snap is not just about solving the most difficult question. It is about solving more questions accurately. So the one who solves more questions accurately gets the higher rank, not the one who has uh, who has solved the most difficult questions. Every question has 1 mark. So remember that. If any question is taking more than 1.5 minutes, skip it and go to the next question. That is one of the strategy which I want to mention. And Sarthak, you can take over.
All right. So now we're going to come to the strategies for specific sections, right? So I would request the team to take over the strategies that they particularly use for different sections.
Okay. So for LR, you have to choose your sets very carefully because it's a 60-minute paper. You cannot afford to choose a wrong set and waste too much time on that set. And even if you have, chosen a wrong set, don't get too attached on that set. Okay, make sure, just if you're not able to get make head and tail of the sets in the first 1 minute, just make sure that you move on to the next set or move on to the next question. And the difficulty level of LR in Snap is of a medium type. Okay, so don't worry that you would get two very difficult sets like CAT or other exams which are there. So I think here your time matters. How you choose your sets, that matters. And not getting attached to a set, that is what matters. And accuracy definitely matters. So it's there is no point in doing 5 questions wrong. Okay, so accuracy matters. And with that, I'll tell about VA also, and cons would be taken up by Karthik. Is that okay? So for what I used to do is I used to read a lot of I used to read up a lot on the internet. So some random topic on psychology, be it on arts or maybe on geography, be it on biology. I used to read up from the net bits and pieces. I also had this app called Napoli. So it I used to get everything. For example, I used to get the news for everything over there, as well as you can see how, where, when, and everything. So maybe if you are traveling sometime, you can just open the app and you can just read it and you can get gist of everything. So this would not only improve your reading speed, but it would also make you aware of the new words, new vocabulary. So I think that's how I went about my VA preparation. uh, Karthik?
Yeah. Regarding the quant, while solving the questions, I followed a strategy called bucketing strategy, which is also called as round method. So first you do one round where you choose all the easy questions and then do it first. And if you find any difficult question, just skip it. Just go to the next question. And after finishing the round one, come back again and see if any of those questions could be solved the second time. Those are round B. And after that, the last set of questions which are most difficult will be set at the last. So by this, you'll be able to look at the entire question paper and get to the most easier questions and do all the easier questions. And another strategy which helped me was improving the calculation speed. You have to improve the calculation speed. You have to write down all the fractions uh, and also the roots, your root of 2, root of 3, all the values, and also know the first 25 squares. Whenever you get that number, you have an answer. You don't have to calculate there, and then it takes much of your time. And then know your strengths and weakness. So some of us would be, I was strong in time, distance, and speed. So whenever I see those questions, I used to I, I solved it first because I knew that I can solve it. And if at all it is very difficult, only then I used to skip it, or else I used to do that questions first. And I can see a question over here which says, can we take 2 years gap without any work experience? We have Durgesh over here. He had 2 years of gap. He'll answer that question.
Before we move on to the question, Momi, a lot of people are requesting the name of the app that you used for the VA prep.
Yeah.
So if you could just.
Yeah, so the app's name is Napoli, Knappily. It's Napoli.
All right. So, Durgesh, you can move on with your answer.
Yeah, so definitely having a work is a
This is the time where you categorize your strengths and also know what your weaknesses are, and then prepare accordingly. Give more time to your strengths, and also don't neglect your weakness and work towards your weakness as well. And this is the time you have to give at least one mock of snap, because it helps you know where you stand. You never know what happens during the DD of CAT, and what happens, and then and you have to know where you stand, right? And during November, you have to keep giving snap or CAT exams, CAT mocks every once in a week. And when CAT exam is over, that is when you have to start preparing for snap religiously, snap alone. So you'll have to give one mock every alternate days and do a thorough analysis on it. And you know, as I already said, that Snap is not about just doing the difficult questions. So you have to know how to select the questions, and that can be done only when you practice a lot of mocks. So that is why I say just do more mocks and stay calm during the examination. This was one of the I used to follow this. You can also call me a superstitious belief. I used to go to exam hall an hour before, and I used to sit in the college, and I used to cool myself down before going to the exam hall. And even before starting the examination, I used to close my eyes and do meditation for 5 minutes, which helped me a lot. And this will help you to do the exams better. Sarthak,
All
do you
right.
have anything
So,
to say?
before the stream went off for a while, a lot of students missed the part where Durgesh talked about the gap year, right? And how a gap year won't be affecting their selection. So, if Durgesh can go over that for again, that would be great for the students. I do see a lot of mentions. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So again, I will cover it in short again. So see, gap year is not a problem until and unless you are able to explain. There should be a proper reasoning behind why you took a gap year. So for me, I used to prepare for armed forces. I have 2 years of gap. If you also missed that part, so I have 2 years of gap, and I was preparing for different armed forces exams like be it FCAT and NDA, CDS, and INET. So I have a total of 7 SSB attempts, and I have went till the conference stage in 6 of them. So I used to give this reasoning during my interviews, and they used to ask that if that was your dream, why are you coming to MBA at this point of time? So I used to explain that see, like I pursued my dream until unless my age allowed, because 24 is a hard limit for CDS. Many of you would know. So I told them that the point till my age allowed. So I pursued. I tried to go for the dream, but and also that the armed forces requires some of the leadership skills that is also required in MBA. So it kind of created a synergy between what I was doing back there, what my dreams were, and what I'm doing currently now. So this was my reasoning behind it. So there is nothing that you should be worried about, that if you have a work, if you don't have a work and you have a gap year, it would be a problem or anything. Definitely it all boils down to the fact that people with workers will have a lot to talk about in their interviews. Like it will be revolving around what they were doing, what are the leadership qualities they have. So but again, you can always showcase all those things with the help of your graduation days, whatever you have done in the clubs and activities. And we here at SIBM also have a huge student driven culture, so you will get to learn about that as well. So I think that answers it. Yeah.
All right. Just to give you guys again a short summary of this slide as well. So October is when you categorize your strengths. You divide everything, the entire syllabus into your strengths and weaknesses, right? So you need to be very well aware of what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, right? Then comes November, right? Karthik suggested that you take one mock in between this period as well to know where you currently stand, right? Which I think is a very great advice. You need to know where you stand correctly and how much you want to improve from the point that you're on right now, right? So October goes for that. Then November, you start attempting regular mocks in the designated time slot. So once you get the timing for once you so the slots, the time slots for the different slots of the snap itself are already declared, right? So you will be getting to once you are aware of that, you would start attempting mocks in that particular time period, right? So November goes for attempting mocks and then also strategically revising and practicing the questions again. So once you have given a considerable number of mocks, it's important for you to come back to them, right? And just focus on the things that did not went right the first time, right? So if you missed out on any particular questions that were easy for you to score, right? You need to take a look at that, why you missed that particular question. And if there's something you found extremely difficult, or there was a new concept that you learned from within a question, right? So you take a look at that question again, you solve it again. So just to again become extremely familiarized with the entire pattern in the again different kinds of questions and concepts that you might be tested upon, right? And then comes December, where you focus on staying calm during the examination. Again, this part, a lot of people do not focus on this last part, to stay calm. And this, believe me, this is one of the most important parts of this entire thing that you guys are currently pursuing, right? So your B school dream, your MBA dream, right? This last aspect, to stay calm during the examination, is one of the most important aspects that any one of you and any one of us would advise to you guys. So we'll move on to the Q&A round. So now we'll be taking up the questions from the chat. So
one more thing I would like to add before we go there. So once your CAT is over, there should be, see what happens that once the CAT is over, all of us are discussing what will the cutoff, and we all are procrastinating. You see, the time after that is very crucial, because that is the prime time you will be focusing on all these areas. So don't waste your time on kind of going through what strategies people are following, what is the predicted cutoff, and what slot went difficult and whatnot, because this happens every year. We have that experience. So this is a mistake that we don't want you to do. So kindly keep that in mind. And now let's jump to the question part.
Good at quants, but I was very good at English. So, and somebody has asked if you can score 12 plus in English. Yes, you can definitely score 12 plus in English. So, for quants, what I did is I picked up a book and I started solving the questions from the start. So, I had a few strong areas in quants as well. For example, I used to like, not strong areas, but I used to like these these topics in quants. For example, I used to like percentages, I used to like profit loss and discount. So arithmetic mostly I used to like. So I used to do that. But this doesn't mean that you leave the other subjects as well. For example, PNC, geometry, or some all these subjects. It doesn't mean that you should leave that. You do, but do the basic sums. Don't go into the depths. If a basic sum like of PNC comes, why do you want to leave it? Because in the exam, if a basic PNC sum comes, why do you want to leave that extra mark? So do the basics. So for snap, I think if you do the basics of each subject, I think that's how I prepared for my quants. So I hope that question is answered.
Uh,
Okay, for vocab also, for vocab, what I did is I had a book where I used to write down the new words, and I used to go through that book every day. And if I came across any new word in the mock also, I used to write that down. And that's how I, did my vocab. Also for grammar, also I picked up a grammar book and used to solve exercises from that. So yeah.
a lot of students are asking about how many mocks should they appear for. Now, there's no particular correct answer for that, right? It all depends on the level of preparation that you have had, right? So if you've prepared extremely well, now again, you all must be regularly giving mocks for other exams as well. It's like, so you all must be appearing for CAT mocks, right? And it all depends on how your preparation has been for the entire season. So if you have prepared extremely well, the number of mocks that you will have to give for snap would be lower than what you had to give for CAT, right? Obviously. And if your preparation has not been going on the right trajectory, or for some reason you're not being able to score well in those particular mocks, then obviously you'll need to give a little bit more mocks. So again, there's no specific answer to that. It all depends on your own the particular stage where you are at your preparation.
And I see a lot of people asking about the GEPI, what preparation and all. What is it? Gentlemen, understand that there's sufficient enough amount of time remaining for that, and we will have a different series for that. Once you clear that, there would be people allotted just for you in order to kind of contact and get their guidance, their understanding. So you don't have to worry about that right now. Just focus on the snap. We really want to see you guys on our campus. So just don't divert your mind to that, all those things at this point of time. Just focus on it and give your best in the exams.
All right, I do see another question coming up extremely frequently, which is which books did we follow for our preparation for SNAP? Again, books, I would not suggest any book to be the best source for preparation of SNAP. The best source, in our opinion, would be the previous year SNAP mocks, right? The previous year SNAP, actual SNAP question papers, right? So once you take a look through all those questions, right, you'll get a general sense of understanding about the kind of questions that appear in the exam, right? And that is what will give you the best idea about what might come in this year's SNAP, right? So previous year SNAP papers is the right book, if you want a term for that. So I would not suggest any other book as such, but previous year SNAP mocks are extremely critical, extremely crucial for your preparation. Especially focus on the last 2 years, because that's when the pattern changed. Snap shifted to a 1 hour pattern, right? So the last 2 years, question papers are extremely, extremely important. So just cover them thoroughly is what I would advise.
And cover everything. Don't miss out on any point, because this is something where you want to don't go in that much of depth, but you want to cover every topics. Don't leave any topics like you would do for any other exams, because you understand that 1 mark is pretty important when you are fighting just for 60 marks. So that's what I wanted to add. Yes, Karthik, you can go ahead. Karthik, am I audible?
Yeah, there's a question. If we start the prep now, can we clear it? Yeah, of course you can. Uh, Actually, I started my prep somewhere 2 months earlier to this, but still, the real preparation started from October. I was preparing for CAT, and I suddenly shifted my gears once the CAT was over, and I started preparing for SNAP. SNAP doesn't have all the questions here in SNAP are usually easier compared to CAT. So only there are few areas where you have to concentrate upon. Uh, in logical reasoning, there will be few topics, few extra topics like family tree, coding, decoding, and analogy and series, directions and syllogism, clock and calendars. All these are few of the topics which you have to go through. Apart from that, CAT syllabus is the thing which you have to concentrate upon. There's nothing much to it. So you can
All right.
easily crack Snap if you start even now.
Okay, so Srushti has asked how score of Snap is selected if she appears for all three attempts. So Srushti, the best of three scores would be considered for admissions to SIBM. Uh, then there's another question from Gaurav. Which HR program is good, SIBM or SMHRD? Again, I would request you to do your own research about this topic. As for the factors that one might consider, so we mentioned a few factors in this presentation itself. I'll just take it back to that slide, right? So these were the few factors on which a lot of people in the MBA circuit judge a B school, a particular B school, and compare different B schools, right? So you might consider other aspects about it as well. So these are the few factors, and then you can do your own research about the topic and come to a conclusion about that. Uh,
Someone is
and
asking, will GPI what will be on online mode and offline mode? Again, it is not kind of fixed at this point of time. You will get to know. But if you really want to explore our campus, there's an event that we will be launching a day at SIBM Pune. It is on 12th of November, and it is an experience that you will be getting to stay in the stay uh, live a life of a B schooler, like live a life of a MBA grad. So you will get to experience the classes, the case comps, and whatnot, everything from start to the end. So it could act as a very good motivational factor for you guys. So if you really want to register for that, check out our Instagram page. Someone is asking that whether they should give 3 attempts of snap or not. Again, it boils down to you. Are you confident enough that you will be able to crack? Because I personally scored better in the second attempt in previous year. So I don't see a point why you should be leaving a chance to kind of get into a Premier B school. So from my perspective, as I would give to my younger sister or younger brother, please give as many attempts as you can, because you really don't want to miss upon the opportunity.
Yeah, there's a
Sumit,
question. How did you guys prepare vocab for Snap? I'll tell
yeah.
you my preparation. I used to read the newspaper for an hour every day, and whenever I came across a unique word which I didn't know the meaning of, I used to write it down in a diary, and I used to revisit it again the next day. So this is how I built my vocabulary. And my friend Moumi also mentioned about a book which she was reading, and even she used to write it down. So both of us did the same, use the same technique. Even it is not about which book you read; it is about you read it and then you take the words from it and register in your memory. That is all it requires. So read whatever you can and get the words. Read at least an hour every day. That is what I suggest you for VARC part.
Another unconventional tip for preparing better for vocab would be, so personally, this worked extremely well for me. I used to watch a lot of different TV shows. Uh, so you observe a lot of different words being spoken, right? When you're watching a show. So now this, if you are able to make it as a habit, whenever you come across a new word while you're watching a show, you just take a quick look at what it means, right? And that helps you remember it quite well, because you heard the word and then you also had a visual with it, right? So the connection between them becomes extremely strong, and then you're able to remember what the word meant for longer. So that is something that worked for me. TV shows as well as video games, both of these things worked extremely well for me personally. Uh,
And even the cutoffs changes, but I'll give you a ballpark figure, which is around 98 percentile. If you get around 98 percentile, then you should get a call from SIBM Pune. And uh, the scores required to get 98 percentile, again, it is not that easy to figure it out, because again it is very dynamic. It changes year after year. So you have to do your best and wait for the 98th percentile to appear. That's it.
all right, so Vanshika is asking how to focus on studies with work. So Karthik, would you like to take up that question?
Yeah, sure. So I used to work when I was preparing for Snap. Um, so usually I was in a second shift. So I used to work from 2 to 11. So I I started waking up at 5 every day, and get ready, and then start with reading newspaper, and then I used to study for 2 3 hours in that period of time, and that helped me a lot. So you have to find a time when there's no work, and you have the peace of mind in the morning. That is when even I felt more comfortable to study. And uh, yeah, it becomes a little hectic over time with managing both work and studies together, but you have to put in that hard work, and you'll reap the success for the hard work you put in. So you have to just stay patient and do your hard work. And Regarding the exam days and everything, try to speak to your manager and get 1 or 2 days leave before the exam, so that you have that peace of mind before you enter the examination hall. You can't be with the same job stress even the previous day and then go to the exam hall, and uh, you won't be able to do perform the best. So you ask for leaves beforehand, so that you get your leaves approved. That is most important thing. So with job, you can easily crack Snap. Just that you have little less time when compared with others, but still you'll if you have determination to do well, you can do well and crack Snap any exams uh, which you take.
People are asking about the acads, like how it will impact their admissions and all. So let me tell you that SIBM is one of the B school that does not focus that much upon your past acads, and you can really work upon your GPI what and get the calls. Once you have the SIBM call, no one is going to look at that what or give you marks on the basis of that. It is just about how you present us in the GPI what process. And also in order to add, I would also like to add that I personally have 64% in my graduation days. So you see, it is not that huge of a problem, because if you are able to present yourself better, and if you have and like good percentile, it won't become a problem for you. So yeah.
Okay, I have something to add to that. So at SIBM, the weightage of your SNAP score and your GEPI VAT score is 50-50. So nobody is going to look at your profile, past profile. No one's going to look at your ACADS for your admission into SIBM Pune. But yeah, so once you have a call, make sure that you work hard towards converting it. First, work hard towards getting a call, and then make sure you work hard towards converting it. Okay. Also, there is a question that will the slot to be rescheduled or something? So right now, the chances are very, very rare that it's gonna get rescheduled because we had our dates well in advance. So yeah, so you can say that the chances are very rare of slot two being rescheduled. You can always book a slot three if you want to give the exam twice.
Right. Also, if there will be any update regarding this particular issue, you'll be able to see that update on all our social media platforms. So make sure that you give us a follow on Instagram, on LinkedIn, as well as Facebook. We're also present on YouTube. So if you want to stay in touch with news related to Snap and SIBM, just stay in touch with those pages on those platforms. And we'll also be coming up with more and more events for you guys. So again, one of the recent events that is coming up is ADAS, a day at SIBM, where you guys will get a chance to experience what a B school life is like for a day, right? Durgesh, would you like to explain again what all things we're going to undertake at ADAS this year?
Definitely. Starting from morning the day, like we have workshops and events planned for you. And in workshops, we'll have different guest lectures and few ice breaking sessions. And in event also kind of even before that, before we you come here, there would be few buzz events on our Instagram page. If you can also check out that. And once you are here, like you will get to explore the campus. There will be competitions, you will be winning prizes. And
comparatively easier exam. So here, uh, in CAT you have 2 hour long papers, so uh, you have difficult questions and you have little more time to answer each questions. But here in SNAP, it is more time constrained exam. So you have to work on each questions in a lesser time than what you do in CAT, and the questions are also easier. So as far as the syllabus is concerned, it is almost same, but the quant is almost same. With respect to LR, there are few topics which are added on top of the uh, existing syllabus for CAT. So one of them, few of them are family tree, blood relations, coding, decoding, analogy and series, direction sense, clocks and calendars, syllogism, which are not present in CAT, are present in SNAP. And for VA, you have sentence completion, analogies, sentence correction, synonyms, antonyms, fill in the blanks, idioms and syllogism, and vocabulary questions. So these are the kind of questions which are added on top of the existing syllabus of CAT. So I would suggest you to go through this syllabus once you are done with CAT, because CAT exam is the one which you are concentrating right now. And once you are done with the CAT exam, you'll have enough time to brush up on all these topics, and then you can prepare enough, and then give mocks consistently, so that you know where you stand at every point of time. You need to know where you stand, and then you can make necessary changes in your preparation strategy, and then you can get to the point where you want to.
Right.
Okay.
Aditya
So
has.
One second.
Just a second, Moumi. Aditya has asked, is there operations specialization in SIBM? Yes, operations is one of the specializations that we offer along with finance, HR, and marketing. Now, Moumi, can you go ahead with question?
Yeah. So Shushti is asking strategy for solving questions. So Shushti, everybody has a different strategy. As we said, you could have judged from the session that everybody's strategies were very different from each other. So this is a time where you experiment. So see what strategy works for you. If you think that doing quants first works for you, then go ahead with that. If you think doing verbal first works for you, go ahead with that. Also, make sure that since time is of utmost important over here, make sure you don't get stuck on a question for more than you are supposed to be, and make sure you pick up the right questions. So there is no point in doing a question which has huge calculations. There is no calculator in snap. I hope everybody knows that. So if you pick up a question which has huge calculations but seems easy, just see, do a benefit analysis and see, is it worth the time, spending that much amount of time for a question, or should you go and skim through the other questions and see if those could be done within a shorter time. So I think everybody, so strategy is not same for all. I think everybody's strategies differ. If anybody can explain.
Yeah, Vaibhav is asking about MBA finance. Yes, we do have finance specialization at SIBM Pune. Yeah, finance is offered as a specialization here, and there, you know that money is the blood which runs through the businesses. So you need to know about how different assets and liabilities are termed, and uh, finance is finance specialization uh, is one of the coveted specialization in SIBM as well. We have different roles offered here: corporate finance, investment banking, and even retail banking. All these roles were offered, and yeah, finance is also, right now we don't have a finance person in the panel. So yeah, but finance is also there in SIBM.
Right. So just like any other specialization at SIBM, the curriculum is extremely dynamic, right? So all the latest things that are coming up in the finance industry, be it fintechs, be it NBFCs, you learn about all of them. You learn about the concepts that are being used in the world today, right? And it's not something that is a thing of the past. You learn about the latest concepts, the latest things that are coming in within the industry. So it is as true for finance as for any other specialization here at SIBM.
Someone is asking, can non-engineers apply take operations branch in SIBM Pune? So yes, definitely they can take. There is no such barrier as such. What specialization you can take depending on your background and anything. And I can see there is again that question about books that has been answered properly. But again, I will give you my take that I personally did not even touch a single book. I was mostly dependent upon the online content, be it the PDFs or the YouTube videos that people are the YouTube videos that we generally get to say, and there's a practice series that goes on. So I was personally dependent on that, and there are people who would kind of go for books, and they are also here. They've also done well. So it all boils down to what you want to do and how you're comfortable. I was not comfortable looking at the page, and there are people who are not comfortable looking at the videos while they're solving. So it all boils down to what is working for you, and in what way you are getting the most effective and efficient results. So yeah.
All right. I do see another question here. So if the team is all right with it, right. So our stream is still live.